A common story says you need a genius to pick winning stocks to build wealth. However, S&P Dow Jones Indices reports that 79% of expert fund managers lost to the basic market in 2025. The real winner is a boring strategy that simply owns the entire market and keeps costs low. Watch what actually happens when $10,000 rides that simple strategy for 5 full years. Let's go back to the start of 2020. Our example is Omar, a regular guy with $10,000 he doesn't need for bills. He puts it into an index fund that tracks the S&P 500. Think of this fund like a huge basket containing 500 of the biggest companies in America. When you buy a piece of the fund, you own a tiny slice of all 500 companies at once. A share represents a tiny piece of ownership in a real business. It's not just a number on a screen. You're buying future cash flow. You don't have to pick winners. You just own the whole market. Omar made his move on January 1st, 2020. At that moment, he was a part owner of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and hundreds of others. By March of that year, a global pandemic hit the news. The stock market had its fastest crash in history. In just a few weeks, Omar saw his $10,000 drop to roughly $7,000. This is the moment where many retail investors panic. Watching $3,000 vanish in weeks makes you want to pull the plug. It feels like the money is gone forever. Data shows that individual investors sell at the bottom. They lock in losses that were only on paper. Turning a temporary dip into a permanent loss hurts your wealth. But the index fund strategy has one strict rule. You don't sell when everyone else is selling. You hold on. Omar ignored the scary news headlines. He left his money right where it was. Then, something surprising happened. The market didn't just recover. Governments around the world sent massive checks to citizens. They also cut interest rates to zero. This flooded the system with cash. That cash had to go somewhere, and much went into stocks. It soared. 2021 turned out to be an incredible year for businesses. The economy reopened, and technology companies became even more valuable. We bought everything online during lockdowns. This shifted trillions of dollars to tech companies. Their profits exploded higher. Omar owned them all, so he benefited directly from this shift. Omar's account balance climbed higher than it was before the crash. It kept going up. By the end of 2021, his $10,000 had grown significantly. But investing is never a straight line up. In 2022, inflation became a major problem. The central bank raised interest rates to fight it. When rates go up, borrowing money gets expensive. Companies pay more to run their business. This lowers their profits. Lower profits usually mean lower stock prices in the short term. Stocks went down again. Omar had to watch his value drop by about 18% that year. In 2022, inflation hit over 9%. That was the highest rate in 40 years. It made everyday items like gas and food very expensive. The market hated that number. That's nearly 1/5 of his money gone in 12 months. He faced a second big test. Would he sell now to stop the pain? Research shows investors sell when the news gets scary. They trade a guaranteed loss for a feeling of safety. It's the worst financial decision you can make. Omar avoided this common mistake. Omar remembered the first crash and how the market came back. He stayed the course again. This discipline is the engine that makes the strategy work. You capture the good years by surviving the bad years. History shows the market drops 10% or more, roughly once every 2 years. It's a feature of the system, not a bug. You must expect these shakeouts. So, what was the result of this roller coaster ride? Let's look at the numbers. If Omar invested in early 2020 and held until the end of 2024, his balance grew. That $10,000 starting point turned into about $19,600. He almost doubled his money in 5 years. If he had started just 1 year earlier in 2019, the result was even stronger. That $10,000 would have become over $20,600. The 5 years starting in 2019 were unusually good. If you picked a different 5-year block, returns might be lower. Timing luck plays a huge role in short-term results. Don't expect every 5 years to look like this one. These gains happened despite 2 scary market crashes. This success comes down to a few simple mechanics. First, the fund owns the winners automatically. You never have to guess which company will invent the next big thing. If one company in the basket fails, the others keep growing. Your risk is spread across the entire economy. The fund automatically adjusts itself over the years. If Apple gets too big, the fund sells some. It buys more of the smaller companies. This keeps the basket balanced without you doing any work. But there's another reason this works so well. It's about the cost. Every mutual fund or ETF charges a fee to manage your money. This fee is called the expense ratio. For a standard index fund, this fee is incredibly small. The Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, for example, charges just 0.03%. That's about $3 a year on a $10,000 investment. It's so small, you barely notice it. This fee is taken out of the fund's total value daily. You never see a bill for it. It silently reduces your balance by a fraction of a penny every single day. This adds up slowly but surely. Now, compare that to funds where experts try to pick stocks. These active managers charge around 1% or more. That might not sound like a big difference, but over 5 years, that extra fee eats into your profits like a slow leak. It drains the bucket while you're trying to fill it. A 1% fee might cut your total return by 10% over a decade. That's a massive pay cut for your money. It siphons value that should belong to you. Every dollar paid in fees is a dollar not compounding. The index fund plugs that leak. This focus on low costs wasn't always popular. In fact, when this idea started, people hated it. John Bogle launched the first index fund for regular investors in 1976. Wall Street experts mocked him. They called his idea Bogle's folly. They said it was un-American to just settle for average returns. They believed that smart managers should always be able to beat the market. Bogle argued that most managers would actually fail to beat the market after fees. To beat the market, you must outperform thousands of other smart people. It's a zero-sum game before fees. After fees, it becomes a loser's game for most active players. The math is simply against them. He turned out to be right. Decades of data prove he was correct. The strongest proof comes from Warren Buffett. In 2007, he made a $1 million bet. He bet that a simple S&P 500 index fund would beat a group of hedge funds over 10 years. Hedge funds are exclusive investments for the very rich. They charge huge fees and promise amazing results. These funds take what's known as 2 and 20, 20% of profits plus 2% of assets. They promise to protect you in crashes, but those high fees make it very hard to win. You start the race with a heavy backpack. The bet ended on December 31st, 2017. The index fund won by a landslide. The S&P fund returned over 7% a year. The hedge funds managed just over 2%. That gap compounded into a huge difference in final wealth for the charity. The expensive advice failed to add value. Buffett proved that the boring, low-cost choice was the smartest move. But you might think, surely pros have gotten better since then? The data says they haven't. Every year, a report called the Spiva Scorecard measures how pros perform. The recent results are shocking. Over a 5-year period, about 76% of active large-cap funds failed to beat the index. In 2025 alone, 79% of them lost to the market. That's the 4th worst year for experts in the last 25 years. Data also shows that a manager who wins one year rarely wins the next. It's mostly luck, not skill. Chasing last year's winner usually leads to poor results. Past performance isn't a reliable predictor of future returns. If the people who do this for a living can't win consistently, why should you try? The odds are stacked against stock pickers. The system is designed to reward those who participate, not those who guess. However, owning an index fund isn't perfect. There's a hidden risk you need to understand. The S&P 500 is weighted by market value. This means the biggest companies take up the most space in your basket. Right now, a huge chunk of the fund is concentrated in just a few technology stocks. Some reports show that roughly 30 to 37% of the fund is in the top 7 names. The top companies right now include Nvidia and Apple. Their stock prices have soared recently. This tilts the whole index toward technology. You're heavily exposed to one specific sector. If tech companies struggle, your fund will struggle, even if the other 400 companies are fine. You're not as diversified as you might think. You're making a massive bet on the biggest winners staying on top. This is a trade-off. You get low costs and simplicity, but you follow the crowd. When stock prices are very high compared to earnings, future returns tend to be lower. We're currently in an expensive market. This suggests the next decade might be slower. High prices today mean lower returns tomorrow. Another trap is expecting the recent past to repeat. Omar's investment grew by about 14 to 15% per year. The long-term average of the market is closer to 10% per year, and that's before inflation. After inflation, the real return is closer to 7 or 8%. If you plan your retirement based on the last 5 years, you might be disappointed. Future returns could be lower, or even negative for a while. The start date matters immensely. If Omar had invested his money at the very peak of the market, he might still be waiting. The 5-year window is a short time in the world of investing. It's long enough to see volatility, but short enough to be lucky. So how do you use this information? You don't need to guess when to buy. A popular method is called dollar cost averaging. This means you invest a small amount of money every month. Sometimes you buy when prices are high. Sometimes you buy when prices are low. When prices are low, your $10 buys more shares. When prices are high, it buys fewer shares. This automatic math ensures you never buy at the exact top. You buy at an average price across many months. Across those months and years, this averages out your cost. It removes the stress of trying to find the perfect day to invest. It turns investing into a habit rather than a gamble. You can set this up to happen automatically from your paycheck. You won't even miss the money. This removes the emotional struggle of deciding whether to invest. It happens in the background, like saving for retirement. Think of it like a dripping faucet filling a bucket. The drops are small and consistent. Eventually, the bucket is full. You're not trying to fill the bucket all at once with a fire hose. You're letting time and consistency do the heavy lifting. The real lesson here isn't about the money Omar made. It's about how he made it. He didn't watch financial news all day. He didn't read earnings reports. He didn't stress over which stock to buy. He trusted the system of American business to grow over decades. He accepted the crashes as the price of admission. He understood that saving money is just the first step. Investing is what actually builds wealth. The money in your savings account is slowly losing value to inflation every year. Savings accounts at some banks pay less than 1% today. With inflation at 3%, you're losing buying power. Your money buys less stuff year after year. Investing is the only way to stay ahead. The difference between these two paths over a lifetime is massive. The index fund is a tool. It's a machine that captures the growth of the economy. It works best when you leave it alone. Don't tinker with it. Don't check your balance every day. Let the compound interest work in the background. If you start today, your future self will thank you for the patience you showed. The market will go up and down. What's also certain is that the companies you own will keep trying to make profits. As long as they do, your investment stands a good chance of growing. Now you know the truth behind the numbers. The secret isn't a genius stock picker. It's the simple act of showing up, buying the whole market, and waiting. The mechanics are open to anyone. You don't need $1 million to start. Are you currently holding an index fund through market dips, or are you waiting for a drop before buying in?